Hey, what's good, guys? It's Brian here. I just want to make a little video on this old clip. It's 14 years old, but it's funny, of Jesse Ventura owning Sean Hannity. So yeah, well, I'm gonna talk through it and talk about stuff about it. Yeah, so let's get right into it, guys.
He shocked the nation back in 1998 when he stormed onto the political scene and won Minnesota's gubernatorial race. Now, former Minnesota governor, pro wrestler, and Navy SEAL Jesse the Body Ventura is considering perhaps another political comeback. His book, Don't Start the Revolution Without Me, describes his outrage at the state of affairs in the U.S. It's now out in paperback. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Sean, always.
I tell you, he's been yelling at me ever since he walked in the green room today. I mean,
I don't yell at anyone.
You were just right on me. It's just like I gave 5 seconds to breathe.
It's your reputation that precedes you.
Well, you said you think you would like me until you met me. Didn't you say that to me?
I wouldn't like you either.
Yeah.
What didn't you like about me?
I don't always care for how it operates and the bullying of guests and things like that.
I couldn't bully you if for a million. I couldn't bully you. You slapped me down so hard.
And Sean Hannity's right about that. Jesse Ventura would, if it's a physical fight, would slap him down, and in a debate would also slap him down. So.
Yeah. What other people you do, and I get irritated when I see that at home.
Well, you said you've been out surfing the last 6 months. Have you really been in Mexico surfing for 6 months?
No, unfortunately, only for 3 because from November. Well, my brother-in-law was diagnosed with Lou Gehrig's disease.
Sorry to hear that.
And he was diagnosed October 2nd, and he passed on January 14th. So I didn't get to Mexico till the end of January because my wife, it was her younger brother, and she stayed home and took care of him until his passing. It's a horrible disease.
I'm sorry. No, I know somebody
disease.
right now who has it. It's terrible.
I know another one too.
It's horrible.
Scott Ledoux, the boxer, has it.
Is it true?
Yeah.
All right. Look. We can go down the old road of our battle. You do not like the Bush administration.
No.
All right. You don't like Dick Cheney. I got that. I understand that. But I want to ask you some new questions.
All right.
All right. If you're game.
Sure.
All right. Because what is it? What do you think of Barack Obama?
I think he's exceptionally intelligent. From when you hear him speak and
he reads a teleprompter. Oh, come on.
Well, at least we got a president now who can read one.
Listen,
we didn't have
that.
That's
not a sign of intelligence. But
yes, it is.
No,
if you're not capable of reading a teleprompter,
no, it's not.
No, I'll say this. I think he's very intelligent. I think it's far too early to be judgmental because let's face it, he inherited a mess. He inherited 2 wars. He inherited economy in the tank. Economy in the tank, 2 wars. I wouldn't have wished that on my worst enemy.
Well, George Bush inherited a recession. George Bush inherited the negative.
No,
Let me finish. Yes, he did. Oh, yes, he did. Oh, yes, he did.
No, he didn't.
And the negative impact of 9/11.
All right. You're telling me that the United States was better off after George Bush or before him?
After.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, how can he say that? Of course, George Bush is nowhere nearly as bad as Donald Trump and Joe Biden, but still, George Bush was a terrible, terrible president.
How can you make that statement?
He just did. And I'll tell you why.
I don't even need to talk to you about it.
Listen, it's not about Republicans.
It's ridiculous.
Jesse Ventura's right. It's a crazy statement to say George Bush. You had 9/11 happen under George Bush. 2 wars happened under George Bush-ish. The debt went up tremendously. The Great Recession. Divided, just terrible, terrible president. Hurricane Katrina, bad response, all that. Just terrible.
This country was far better off before George Bush than it is after George Bush.
Want me to quote you the 9/11 Commission report? For an entire decade, I'm glad I can make you laugh. For an entire decade.
When you bring up the 9/11 Commission, that makes me laugh.
For an entire...
Because they didn't investigate nothing.
Well, that's true, to all the families that lost people in 9/11, it's unfair to them because the government has not investigated nothing. They did a fake little investigation. It was a small investigation. It's not a conspiracy theory. This is a fact. They didn't do a real investigation. That's why I would love Jesse Ventura to serve in Congress or become president because he would do an actual investigation.
I agree. And to one extent, you're partially right, but they did get one thing right, that there were a group of radicals that were at war with the United States, and we weren't at war with them. We saw the first Trade Center bombing, the embassy bombings, the USS Cole, and we have radicals that think God is going to reward them in heaven with virgins, Jesse. How do you stop them? What do you do? Tell me what you do.
You pay attention to memos on August 6th that tell you exactly what bin Laden's going to do. Instead, we hear Condoleezza Rice going, I didn't know what they were going to do.
That's so true. It's such a shame that this happened, but you know, you have very few politicians. Jesse Ventura is one of the few that will actually speak up and say something about it.
The memo says Bin Laden set to hijack planes and ram them into buildings.
I have a better idea.
And your buddy, George Bush, he was on vacation in Crawford at the time. Did you know he took over 900 days of vacation?
No, president's never off. President's. Do you know that? Let me give you an example.
This one was. He wasn't on his watch.
Exactly.
The biggest attack in history happened on his watch.
I wrote about this in my first book. I'll give you a copy before you leave here. Bill Clinton was offered Osama bin Laden on a silver platter by the Sudan, and we passed on him 5 times. So I don't want to hear
That is true, you know. Sorry, guys, excuse me. That is true, that's very true. But, you know, Bill Clinton I didn't like, but George Bush is even worse.
About George Bush and bin Laden. He did keep us safe. He did put us on a war foot. And let me finish this.
And let's see, George Bush was bailed out of one of his bad business deals by Salem bin Laden, Osama's brother.
Exactly. Maybe it all ties in. You never know. Oh, I mean, I'm not saying it does, but still, I'm not blaming George Bush for 9/11, but George Bush and his entire administration were very much aware that it was going to happen.
You don't think there's a connection there? Come on.
Let me ask you this. Do you not think the quadrupling of our national debt, which in 1 year, would you do that if you were president?
No, I don't know. I know. Because I was talking about the deficit before the election.
Very true. Way back in 2008, even before that, Jesse Ventura was talking about how the debt needs to get down, government needs to stop spending again. And listen, now look at the position that we're in now in 2023.
Notice that term never came up.
I agree.
Through the entire John McCain, Osama bin Laden election, nobody would touch the deficit with a 10-foot pole. Do you know who first brought up the deficit?
Yeah.
Ross Perot.
It's true.
That's right.
Very true. Ross Perot was the very first presidential candidate to bring up the deficit. Ronald Reagan did a little bit, but Ross Perot was the one to bring it up and like talk about the threats of it and stuff. And if you guys remember, the very first political party to be talking about all the debt was not the Republicans, it was the Libertarian Party way back in 1971. So remember that, guys. Ross Perot and the Libertarians were the ones who started joking about it, not the Republicans.
And so don't come at me that all the Republicans do. They spend like Democrats, only they charge it. At least the Democrats go cash and carry. The Republicans do the same thing and charge it.
I will say this, though, but in 1 year to quadruple the deficit, to have the CBO tell us that in 10 years, let me finish. Well, kids and grandkids, but in 10 years we're going to quadruple. No, that's not true. No.
True, George Bush did leave us the mess. You know, it's took up seven presidents. George Bush is the reason why things went really bad, the Great Recession, all that, is George Bush's fault.
Well, this deficit is Obama's deficit. This is Obama's spending. Obama did it in 1 year.
Okay, you know what? Obama did spend a lot and ran us in debt, and, you know, I criticize him for that, too. So did Bill Clinton. But, you know, George Bush, they didn't spend as much as did George Bush. I mean, none of them spent as much as Trump or Biden, but still.
Fix George Bush's mess.
You know, Barack Obama didn't inherit a mess. The economy was terrible when Barack Obama came into office. Terrible, so just want to say that.
But you can't see straight.
No,
you can't see straight.
He's
not the president.
He told him you can't see straight. Jesse Ventura owned it.
Because you're so conservative.
I'm a conservative.
All you do is back the conservatives no matter what they do.
Wrong. You haven't listened to me for 5 years criticizing.
It's very true. You've never once heard Sean Hannity say anything bad about a Republican. Unless they were like a Republican that went his buddy Donald Trump.
As a Republican, 6 years, we're criticizing Republicans for spending too much money. Say that's right, Mr.
Hannity. What is he, his father? What's he, his teacher? Is his freaking general in the Navy?
You're not my officer.
I'm not. Jesse, the body. Good to see you. Do you have a good time?
I'm done already? This is it?
That's it.
Jeez, you didn't even get to any good topics.
Because you insist on going over the old topic, and I knew you'd do this.
Because I need to pound it home to people to have them realize Barack Obama inherited this mess. Republicans had the Congress for 6 years, and they had the presidency.
Now it's Obama's mess, and Obama quadrupled the deficit in 1 year, and we'll see what happens to our kids and grandkids.
Okay, well, George Bush had a bailout too, didn't he? And you know what's interesting?
You're ever going to run for office? I don't care what you say about
Republicans voted for it when it was George Bush's bailout, but they wouldn't vote for it when it was Obama's. That's politics at its worst. That's putting your party before the country.
I am a Reagan conservative. I'm
a Goldwater conservative.
Well, I'm a Reagan conservative. We just disagree.
Okay, see Sean Hannity trying to bring Ronald Reagan into that. It's so stupid. Ronald Reagan's an amazing president. he spent nothing like George Bush did, or Donald Trump, or Joe Biden.
On social issues on the many things. Yeah. Reagan gave us the longest period of peacetime economic growth.
You know, Sean Hannity, you're very right about that. He did give us the longest peace and economic and strength that we've had in history, so that's very true.
He ended the Cold War, and he took on evil in his time, and I love him for it. Okay. And Bush kept us safe. Goodbye. Thank you.
Kept us safe. The biggest attack in history on his watch.
Yeah, okay.
Don't tell me he kept us safe. No, I'll thank George Bush, who don't read memos and who goes on vacation and
should have blamed Clinton for not getting Bin Laden when he was off.
Well, I'll put it to you this way. I'd rather have 1,000 Monicas than all these 9/11s and the terrorists.
I don't know why I like you, but I do.
I'll tell you the truth, that's why.
The New York Times.
Guys, that is just such an amazing clip. You know, there's another amazing one. You know, that's Jesse Ventura. He owned him, literally just owned him. You know, it's true. George Bush, I'm not saying George Bush was involved in 9/11 and George Bush is the direct cause, but George Bush, Dick Cheney, Condoleezza Rice, and many other people in the George Bush administration knew 9/11 was going to happen. They were warned, and they didn't do nothing about it. They did absolutely nothing about it. You never know what was going to happen, but, you know, they still could have tried, and they didn't do anything about it. That's the part that bothers me so much. And him saying, oh, blame Bill Clinton. You know, I don't know if that's true or not. If it's true or not. I'll have to do some research into that, if Bill Clinton was warned or not. You know, Bill Clinton I don't think was a good president. I think he was certainly better than George Bush or Donald Trump or Joe Biden, but, you know, it's just, it's bullcrap to defend that. This is one of Jesse Ventura's best clips. Jesse Ventura owning Sean Hannity. Hey, alright guys, that's it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe for more, guys. Alright guys, Ace, have a nice day.